Welcome back to the show. I am joined by a friend of Contractor Evolution, the great and powerful Paul Atherton, one of our most experienced and wise construction coaches with Breakthrough Academy. We've had him on other episodes. If you've not listened to those, go check them out. He is one of our best and brightest, and we're really excited to have him. He brought me a coffee. He came all the way over from the island. He's taken some time out of his busy schedule to shed some light on what we call the sales to production handoff. This is the link in the chain where the sales team, the estimation team, the people that have basically quoted the job, estimated it, made promises to the customer, sold this to the customer, is now passing this off to the production team so that they can go build it. And this is often a part of the process, part of the workflow that's fraught with communication breakdowns, missed expectations. It's a very, very, very critical handoff, as you can probably imagine. Paul, let's start with an easy one. Why is this link in the chain so important?
This link is extremely important because if it's weak or broken, you really increase the likelihood of core issues coming up. Okay, because typically what you see in any transaction in life between like customers and vendors, both parties will have movies in their mind that they've made up based on past experiences on how that transaction is going to play out. So if you don't have a strong link in this chain, what happens is there's misalignment with both those movies, and what you see is like friction in communication. Like trust issues can develop between both parties. You'll see interdivisional strife happening amongst like the company.
Like the production team's like, these sales guys just screwed us again. The sales guys are going, man, the crew's complaining again. Like this huge interdivisional kind of people can get at each other's throats when this is not done well.
Yeah, totally. They start getting political with each other. Right. And then what that leads to is like you'll probably find an increased likelihood of there being quality issues. And then that'll affect your referral count and then obviously the company's net profit at the end of the year.
So those are some not so good things. Obviously very, very important to clean this up. How, like from your experience, you've worked with a lot of different companies. How big of an issue is this for construction and trades, broadly speaking? Do you see this a lot?
Yeah, this is one of those this is one of those areas of a company's operation that tends to get missed, where most people think they're just good enough. And when you ask them, hey, what does this like handoff look like? They go, well, it basically breaks down to like, we have good memories, we have good conversations, we communicate, and then
they're doing it from the head?
Well, and then they say, and then we'll build like a list of like what we're doing on the job, and then we pass that list off to production, and then what more do you need? And I'm like, well, that's like very valid, by the way, like they made a list, but what we found is that in order to be like really, really good in this area, there's like a few other things that should be taken into account. What
kinds of details often get missed, do you find?
Well, there's like 6 categories. So the first one, like I mentioned, is deliverables, and that's where a lot of companies stop. So they'll build a list of like really simple deliverables, and they'll say like, okay, customer is going to pay us like $65,000, and we're going to go do X, and here's a list of all the things that we're doing. Okay, production, go do those things. It's good enough, right?
Right.
But there's other things too. There's basically 5 more things. There's like core needs
of the customer.
There's project exclusions, project constraints, project assumptions, and then there has to be an assessment of the company's capabilities to actually follow through with any promises that were made.
So most business owners are operating on 1 out of 6 of those things, which is essentially the client has asked us to paint the house with 2 coats of blue paint. We're going to do the windows in black and the doors we're not going to touch. Go do this. Or, the customer has paid us to build this retaining wall, add some trees to the front yard, build a patio with some pavers in the back, whatever. But you're saying like the deliverables part is a fairly rudimentary checklist that misses a whole bunch of like nuance and detail and emotion, opinion that like the customer may have that hasn't been extracted from them or communicated to the production team in any effective way. And that's where a lot of these, you say it like they have movies in their mind. The production team is like, well, this is just the way we always do these jobs. And the customer has another movie which is like, well, this is the way I always like to have these jobs done. And they're playing completely different reels. They don't look the same. They don't sound the same. And that's where this stuff kind of crops up downstream.
Yeah. Like like the company has been like performing like a lot of these jobs over and over and over again. So they may have their own movie reel, and the customer might have done a similar type of job with a contractor once or twice in their life. Then they've watched maybe some programs on TV and got some advice from their neighbors, and then they have their own movie reel. And there needs to be some sort of a system in place to try to
bring those as close together as possible.
Yeah.
Is this, in your experience, and I'm not trying to point fingers here, I'm a sales guy, is this more the fault of sales, production, a little bit of both? Like, is there, I'm not trying to shed blame, but I am wondering like where the responsibility of this lies, whose shoulders this responsibility lies on more squarely?
Well, that's the problem is people ask this question a lot in their companies. They're like,
whose fault is
the
this?
Sales fault, or this is the production guys. I sold this job and they're not producing and making the customer happy. So it's actually no one's fault.
Okay,
let's just state it's not anybody's fault. It's the reason why these issues come up is because there's just usually a breakdown in processes, or there's a significant improvement that we can make in the processes in that handoff.
Can we talk about some of those improvements?
Yeah, for sure.
So when you're working with a business who is like really clearly struggling with this by your assessment, you're getting to know the entrepreneur, you're getting to know the inner workings of the business, and you're like, okay, this is like your sales to handoff, or your sales to production handoff is broken or weak. What types of systems do you begin to implement that start to move the needle and improve this? Listen, if you like that clip, you can watch the full episode by clicking here. If you're not yet subscribed, you probably should be, and you can do that by clicking right here.